folks. Welcome to the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Cassandra Terry, the mindset coach and founder of Manifesting Miracle Makers, rounded up her LinkedIn family once again. First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content and Dadpreneur. He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content. Next, meet Denise Annalise Spiller, the gig expert and relentless traveler and writer. She turns every gig into an adventure. Then there's Jay Pasquale, the storytelling strategist, a poet and voiceover artist. He's weaving tales that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even change your perspective. And wrapping it up, we have Eric Clark, the soul speaker and author. He's here to soulfully help you craft your story and narrative. Get ready for a show filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the magic of family. Let's welcome Cassandra Terry and the rest of the Fam
Hello. Welcome to Thursday's edition of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. It is one of my favorite days of the week, Thankful Thursday. And I am thankful to be here. I am thankful that I've got my brother Jay with me. I'm thankful that you guys are joining us from all over. And we are ready to jump into Thankful Thursday. Why do we dedicate a whole day every week to being thankful, to gratitude? Because I believe wholeheartedly that gratitude is a great game changer. It's a mood shifter. It's a mood elevator. It helps us to refocus. There are so many positive outcomes. I can't think of a single negative one, not one, but I can think of a lot of positive outcomes that we get from operating from a place of gratitude. I call gratitude the sandwich to my day. I began my day thinking about 3 or 4 things that I'm grateful for. I end my day thinking about 3 or 4 things that I'm grateful for so that I keep myself throughout the day in that mindset. And it helps me to stay positive. It helps me to focus on what I have versus being bogged down by the things that I don't have. And I really encourage you to do the same. And that's why, in a nutshell, we spend so much time talking about gratitude. Gratitude is a state of mind. Gratitude is a way of life. Gratitude is a tool. Gratitude will help you in those difficult times find something to hold on to so that you maintain hope and you continue to move forward instead of getting stuck in the situation. You're able to keep moving through it. Gratitude will be just the thing that can help you when you don't feel like getting up, when you feel like throwing in the towel. Gratitude can help you get that just enough courage, just enough hope, just enough of whatever it is that you need to put that one foot in front of the other and keep moving through your storm instead of getting stuck in the midst of your storm. Good morning, Michael. Michael says, happy Thankful Thursday, Fam 5. And he shared a quote that I see all the time that I really love. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. Henry Ward Beechler. I'm grateful for all the blessings in my life, big and small. Isn't that something? That's exactly it, Michael. When we're grateful, we can find large things, small things, in all things, we can find something to be grateful for. And that mindset will serve you well. So thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning. So Jay, today is another day where we've got an acrostic. And so I'm just going to start sharing, and you and I can just go back and forth. With the first of the is the G, grounding perspective. When we have gratitude, it helps us to maintain that positive outlook. It gives us perspective. Grounding perspective acts like a grounding force, and it anchors us in right now, in the present, and it will keep us driving towards the future and not getting lost in the chaos of our emotions and the frustrations that life can bring, but it will anchor us in right now and what we need to focus on to keep moving forward. So Jay, what do you think about gratitude from the perspective of of grounding perspective?
The first thing that comes to mind for me um, is making sure that we understand that we we have blessings in front of us. The things that are currently in our space right now, the things that are happening to us right now, those are blessings. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be looking forward to the future. It just
Right.
means to be happy and can not just content, but understanding that what we have with us are things that we should consider as as blessings in our life because we've worked to get there and it's with us now. That's what comes to mind immediately. But at the same time, um, even though we stay grounded, it doesn't mean we shouldn't look to the future. So those are
That's right.
the two things that come to mind.
I think when you're grounded, you know what you know. You feel you have some sort of hope and safety and the ability to look forward because you know who you are, you know whose you are, and you're not moved from it's like from side to side based on how the wind is blowing. When things are good, you're great. When things are bad, you can barely get out of bed. When you're grounded in the truth of who you are and whose you are, you can keep moving forward despite temporary external circumstances. So you're right. It definitely calls for us to continue to and enables us to continue to look forward. And it keeps us hopeful and knowing that this too shall pass. Whatever happens to be happening right now is a temporary thing. And I'm grounded in knowing that I have a future, that things are going to work out for my good in the long run, and I can just keep moving forward. And because of that attitude, we go to our R, which is the resilience builder. You look like you're about to say something. Go ahead, jump in, Jay.
No, I was just going to say, if you've ever been to going back to um, the earlier thing where we're just talking about
The G,
grounding,
you want the G
the
back?
G, yeah, just for a second, if you've ever been to a large airport, let's say Houston,
Mm-hmm.
the Houston airport, they have maps all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't, if you've never been to that part of the airport, you don't know where you are. So a lot of times there's that star that says you are here.
You are here.
So grounding to me is you are here. You want to go here, 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 or here, but how can you get there if you don't know where you are currently? And that it was as soon as you said what you said, that came to mind. So it brought it together.
I love that because I use that all the time. That you are here, thinking of that as it's a data point. We can't create the map for our lives. We can't create the route to where we intend to go efficiently without having both data points. We need to know where we are, that star on the directory, you are here, as well as the endpoint where it is that we're trying to go. When we have those two pieces of data, then we're able to craft the most efficient route for where it is that we're trying to get to. So yes, I love that you brought that up. That's one of the things that I talk about on a regular basis. So you are absolutely correct. Welcome, Brian. We are happy to have you here with us this morning. Sonia says, good morning, everyone. Beatrice says, great day. Blessings to you all from PA. Welcome, Beatrice. Happy holidays. Same to you, Brian Bing. Good morning from Atlanta. My baby girl, my baby sister, Tiffany Baylor, is on the line, and she's got a couple of happy hands up. I don't get to see her that often. She's usually working this time of the day, but it's the holidays, so I'm glad that you were able to join us, baby sis. I have reached out to my mom to have her to join us this morning. She comes on and sings every once in a while. So Tiffany, if a song bubbles up, let me know and I'll send you the link so you can join us. Now that's another one. This girl can cook like no other. She can sing She has a business where she doesn't just cater, but she creates the events where she does all the decor and everything. It could be at a facility like a big banquet or some sort of event, or it could be something intimate. For my parents, was it I can't remember if it was a birthday or an anniversary. I had her to create something for them, and she came in. She prepared. She rearranged the furniture and created this ambiance, and then she did all the cooking right there and served them in their home. So y'all, that's why I tell y'all all the time. It took me a long time to see myself as a creative person because I'm just surrounded by creativity and people who are just so dang talented. And baby girl is definitely at the top of that list. Good morning, Brian. Looks like you're outside too.
Yeah, I just got my little run in for the morning. Now I'm just outside hanging with the fam.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So Jay, if you want to move outside and join the party, Jay's
Right.
like, it's cold. I'm staying where I am. So, Brian, just to bring you up to speed, of course, it's Thankful Thursday. And we're going through our acrostic for gratitude this morning. And we started with G, the grounding perspective. And we are moving to, in just a moment, Tiffany says, love you, sister. I learned from you. Love you right back, girl. And we are moving to the R in gratitude, and that's the resilience builder. When you are operating from a point of a mindset of gratitude, it will build resistance. If for no other reason than the fact that you are focused on what you have, you're focused on your abundance versus being focused on lack. And you can take a look at your life in its entirety, and you can honestly see the things that you've come through. You can see what you've overcome. You don't just get lost in the here's all the bad things that happened to me, but you actually see here's what I've learned from each one of those situations. I'm more resilient. I'm stronger than I realized I was. I'm capable of doing things that I never thought I'd be able to do. You don't get that sort of understanding of who you are when everything's good. It's when those difficult times come through and you keep pushing through. You do the things necessary to move through. That's when you really get to meet yourself. You get to understand what you're really made of, who you are at your core as you come through those difficulties. So even the worst situation, the thing that if you could rewrite history, you take away, that thing probably taught you more than any other situation in your life. If nothing else, what you're capable of making your way through. So resilience and the resilience builder is one of the characteristics of having a gratitude mindset and focusing on gratitude. You want to jump in, Brian?
Now I was just reading something the other day about building resilience and how
Mm-hmm.
it's a magic needle mover. Uh, your strength for me, my strength has never been developed in the easy times,
Right.
and although you hate it, that's really where you get your that's where you get your boost is when you're going through the tough times. For some reason or another, whenever I'm going through tough times, that's when my brain starts working overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Right, all kind of things just start coming up. I start getting ideas out of nowhere. And, I was thinking about something a few weeks ago. I had some paperwork to turn in, and
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, man, where am I gonna get this last asset to include with this proposal? And I thought about it. I thought about it. I thought about it for almost 24 hours straight. And I sat in the room one morning before one of these shows, and I cut all of the lights off. And I called myself going to sleep. But what happened was that my brain was still working overtime to come up with that solution, right? Because this was a mountain that I had to overcome. I really needed to close this deal, and I couldn't think of it. I couldn't think of it without getting into that quiet place where I could let that resilience start to build that solution. Like you would be amazed at how powerful your mind is when you're faced with obstacles. It's like the ideas just start coming out of nowhere.
Start
So when
rolling.
you start talking about resilience, man, all I see is a little factory in my brain, and it's just working overtime. to churn out the solutions I need to face these battles and these obstacles that we're faced with all the time. That's not something that you're ever going to get past. It's not something that's unique to me or you or Jay or anyone else. Everybody goes through it, and believe it or not, your brain works overtime when you are put in those situations. So for me, it's always been about embracing that difficulty. I actually enjoy the difficulty because I've seen those monuments that I've put in place for the things that I've overcome before. So I just look at it like a challenge. I look at it like another opportunity to put a notch in my belt.
So that's going to take me to our A, the attitude shifter. When our brain is working overtime. However, depending on what good morning, depending on what we're focused on, will determine what that brain is generating. If you're focused on the solution, then yes, your brain is working overtime and it's coming up with idea after idea after idea of how you might move through this thing. If you're focused on the frustration, the emotion, the whatever the situation is, if you've gotten bogged down in that, all you're going to see is more problem, more struggle, more difficulty. You'll end up getting depressed. You'll end up pushing yourself into a situation that you have to lift yourself up out of at some point, because now you're struggling and you're lost in the emotions, and your mind is still busy. It's creating, but it's not creating solutions. It's just expanding the problem and the effects that the problem has on your life. So our attitude has to shift from, am I focused on what's happening, or am I focused on the solution that's going to get me through what's happening? So that attitude shifter is a huge attribute of gratitude. It will take you from frustration and being bogged down into solution and focus and creative. And just like you said, the lights went out, but your brain kept going. But where it went was solution. What can I do? How can I solve this problem? What's going to get me from where I am to where it is I'd like to go? How am I going to get moving again? Attitude has to shift. Your focus has to move from the problem to the solution. And we have that control. It's a decision, guys. It's as simple as deciding, I am not going to allow myself to get bogged down in the problem. We talked about this yesterday. I'm at our vacation home, and I came outside because everybody's inside either sleeping or something, and I wanted to have a nice place for us to sit down. Well, it's nice and bright outside now, but when we start, it's pretty dark, and I look like a silhouette of myself. So I was trying to get the lighting together. I picked up my favorite lamp, and I was almost at the table. And right as I was getting to the table to sit it down, the top of the lamp separated from the bottom of the lamp, and glass shattered everywhere. In that moment, I had a decision to make. Am I going to allow this to shift my attitude into frustration? Y'all, the lamp is so cute. I love that lamp. And it was so perfect for the decor, at a coastal place, right? So I had this moment of frustration. I can't believe this just happened. I only have a few minutes before the show started. If everybody wasn't sleeping, if there was some place where I could just sit down with my laptop, this never would have happened. There's no room for me to work. Those overtime, those thoughts start going quickly. But you decide if you're going to allow that spiral to continue, or if you're going to gather yourself and readjust your attitude by readjusting your focus. I was grateful that my husband got up. He grabbed a broom. He was sleeping before the crash. He grabbed the broom. He started to help me get up the glass. Jay was already online, so I told him I was getting stuff together so the show could still continue. Everything worked out. I don't have the lamp anymore. That's not, I could focus on that. But the show was great yesterday. We got it cleaned up before I was seated and ready to go. I had some lighting. It wasn't the best, but we got through it. A few years ago, that would have been the end of the show. I would have, I'm just not in the mood for this today, and I would have either canceled or asked Joe and Eric and Brian, hey, can you guys carry this today? I need to take care of something. I would have made it bigger than what it was. I would have given it so much more life, and I would have allowed it to control my life in that moment. When those things happen, y'all, we have control. We really do. We just have to decide to take it. Tap in. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? I could have told myself a story. I started to tell myself a story that was going to make me frustrated with my family because in that moment they were in my way. How about that? How about looking at your family as something or someone that's in your way? Shame on me, right? They were supposed to be sleeping. We're on vacation. It's early in the morning. This is my thing, right? But I could have allowed those thoughts to keep going and to keep running and to take our vacation into a different direction. For the rest of the day, I could have been frustrated at everybody. I could have. I certainly could have been frustrated at myself, but I made a decision in that moment that I wasn't going to allow something as simple as a broken lamp. I can go down the road to the next store, buy another lamp, life keeps going, or not. Is the lamp that essential? We have electricity, there's light everywhere. If I don't replace the lamp, that's not a big deal either. But in that moment, I had to adjust my attitude and allow myself to shift past being so caught up in the problem and not focused on the solution and getting back to what was really important. I see we've got quite a few comments that have come in. So let me take a moment and then we're going to move to the letter T, J, and I'm going to throw that one over to you. So let's see from our comments. Oh, goodness. Oh, I know I am going to really butcher your name, so forgive me. It looks like Ashawariya. Asharia. How about that? Asharia? I don't know. She says, hello, respected all. Laura, welcome. Happy holidays. She's saying hello to everyone. Sharia is saying it's great to hear how resilience is built. Obstacles are a way of blessings. It's opportunity for growth. You are absolutely right. It is opportunity for growth. It allows you to check in, it allows you to see where you are, and it allows you to do something different. If we want something different, we have to have something different. So if you're still operating in the same mentality that you always have, you're probably missing some of those blessings, missing some of those opportunities for growth. So it's really important to do what Brian did and turn off the lights sometimes. Get quiet, get still, and use that opportunity to tap into yourself and allow yourself to hear what's going on inside your head and make the necessary adjustments. I had to, in real time, adjust my thinking because it was spiraling in a way that was not going to serve me. And I recognized it. And in recognizing it, then we are able to do something different. That self-awareness is so key. So check in with yourself on a regular basis. What story am I telling myself? How am I responding in the situation? Am I making it better or am I prolonging this difficult situation? Ask yourself those questions and answer honestly and adjust accordingly. Deirdre says R is also for right relationships, is key and foundational to true happiness and leads to more gratitude. Absolutely. Um, Mike Beverly says, Amen, Cassandra, you are so right on. Thank you, Mike. Happy holidays. Poku says, hello, viewing from Gombe. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Asharia says, I feel a moment of pause to process our frustration is what I think might be a great way, taking some deep breaths. You are so on point. That moment of pause gives you the opportunity to collect your thoughts and to arrest those thoughts that are no longer serving you and respond instead of react. When we're all jacked up in our emotions and we're operating from there, we are reacting. We are at the mercy of our circumstances and we just react to whatever is given us. But when we have the emotional intelligence to pause, to take that deep breath, that's when we have the opportunity to move from this reactionary place where we don't show up as our best self and we're led by our emotions into a response where we've thought it through, we've gathered ourselves, and we're giving back to the situation something that is going to be helpful to us and maybe whoever else is in it. So, yes, I love that. Taking that deep breath is imperative. And then Laura says, obstacles are the full stop that allows you to choose how to respond. Look at us. Look at us on the same page there, Laura. Choose how to respond, not react. This takes time because we are entrenched in our old habits and mindsets. Absolutely. And I believe this, some of you guys I see every day. And I believe that the reason that we're all here and we're spending this time together is because we want to break those cycles. We don't want to remain entrenched in our old habits and mindsets. We're doing the work, the inner work to uproot that negative thought process, those self limiting beliefs, the things that are standing between us and our destiny. We are choosing every morning, every afternoon, every evening, depending on where you are in the world, to come together and to talk through these things and not just talk about it, but be about it. We have to put the energy behind the conversations that we're having and actually pick up new habits and integrate those in our lives. And when we do that, now we're effectively changing how we show up in the world. And that changes what we're going to draw to ourselves. We're magnets. So take a look around. What's around you? That's what you've drawn. If you're not picking up, if you're not, the bait that you've grabbed is not what you want to catch the life that you desire, then you've got to do something differently to have different bait. You have to make those changes. And that's why we're here every day. All right, let's look at, I promised the T to you, Jay. So T, it's tenacity. It fuels our tenacity. Tenacity. Take that one over. I know you like big words, so that actually I didn't plan it that way, but too bad Ollie's not here. You guys can have fun with this one. But go ahead, Jay. Tenacity fuel. How do you want to address that one?
Tenacity fuel. So in my mind, right, everybody keeps talking about you got to 10x this part of your business. You got to
Right.
10x. We're talking about growth, right? Well, if you want growth in a business and your business you want your business to be huge, you're thinking about a city. So 10x and it's a city. Tenacity, right? So this is the fuel. This is just the thoughts that come into mind, right? And the same thing, uh, I say the same thing um, for another word that ends in city, authenticity. Um, but the real word I guess you could use in this point is grit, right?
Grit. I love that word.
Grit. You have to be able to look at things from a point of building that resilience. So over time, as you build that resilience, right? Yesterday we were talking about the word evolution. I said, I'm going to go ahead and chuck that word for 2024, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
use the word transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have intention, you are not going to evolve, you are going to transform. And that takes tenacity. When you are resilient and you come against issues, you know, maybe this year and then the next or the following year, or a similar issue comes up, this allows you, that resilience that you've built up allows you to move forward. That's tenacity.
Mm-hmm.
Building up that resilience over time and through different experiences that allows you that grit, right? So resilience, tenacity, grit, they all kind of come together, but it starts with resilience and happening over time with different experiences. And that is what, for me, comes to mind with tenacity. You know, the tornado experience, I survived that tornado um, April 27th, 2011. That's coming up on 13 years now, right? And so for me, I've been able, as a result of that one experience, to look at other things and how to overcome those obstacles and those bits of adversity. That is tenacity.
Mm-hmm.
Resilience was coming through it. Tenacity is the ongoing use of that resilience.
I love that. I love that. Very good. Very good. And Lori, I missed your last comment. Laura, she says, I love the magnet reference. Cassandra, yes. And all right, Brian, hopefully you are still good and connected because I'm going to throw the I over to you. So if you're ready, think of the I in gratitude as an insight illuminator. when you've illuminated insight, your insight has been illuminated. What does that bring up for you, Brian?
You know what it really brings up for me is what you just threw over to Jay, and that's tenacity. And I
Uh-huh.
remember being in a real hairy situation about I don't even want to say how long, but it was over 25 years ago. And my father wrote to me, and he in his letter he said, I'm not concerned about you because you have tenacity. You're tenacious. And that stuck with me for almost 30 years. And now I'm hearing it again today at a very at a tumultuous time, right? This is and it's not just for me. This is a tumultuous time globally. Like we're going through a lot of stuff when you look at the Middle East, when you look at the economy, when you look at everything that's going on. And
Mhm.
the reason I'm saying all of that is because the thing that helps you guide your way through those times is insight, right? Insight is that guiding light that you have to have in order to be able to see through the fog, in order to be able to see around these corners. I don't know if anybody on this call this morning is familiar with the Minority Report, but the Sentinels had this thing that allowed them to see around corners and tell them, hey, don't go this way. Hey, here comes danger at this corner. That's insight, right? And we
Mhm.
all have that same internal tool that helps to guide us. Now, that's not to say that that insight doesn't come with some work. That's not to say that you don't have to build up that gift of insight, but it's something that I've always likened to discernment. Discernment for me is insight,
Yes.
that natural insight that you were given by your creator to make that move, to decide where to go, to decide what to do, who to do it with. And it all started. It's so crazy when these things happen because I was just reading it earlier this morning about 4:30. I read something about prayer
Mhm.
and how prayer is how you build up that insight. You have to practice, you have to put that into play in order to get that delivered to you, in order to build up that gift, in order to build up that that insight. You have to continuously be in prayer and thanksgiving. And I think that is so uh, uh, pointed for today's conversation because insight comes with gratitude. So for me, that's what insight starts with gratitude. Insight starts with being thankful, and then I'm able to see these things. I'm able to do the research to get that artificial insight, and then I'm able to continuously stay in prayer so that I can have that organic, that spiritual insight.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. When you are grateful and you're able to look past the problem and towards the solution, the insight will come. Your focus is different. You're not bogged down in this is the bad thing that's happening. It's what can I learn from this situation? What is this situation trying to teach me? When we ask ourselves that in every situation, there's something that you're going to take from it. You're going to be different. You're going to be better if you actually allow yourself to grab the lesson from that situation. And the insight will come in you asking yourself those types of questions and doing that type of assessment on you and on your situation and on how you're making your way through it. So we're going to move to the T, which is a team unifier. I thought this was so good for the fact that we show up daily as a team. There's anywhere from 2 to 5 of us at any point in time, the fam five. And if we think about gratitude, how easy is it to think about how it has unified us and the things that we're looking to accomplish in the future? It helps us to get on the same page. It helps us to put egos aside and focus on the greater good for the group. It helps us to uplift each individual when they're doing the things that they are working on individually. It's just a different way of showing up, and it's a positive way of showing up individually and as a collective. So it also unifies. And if you can build it into whatever team that you're a part of, your family is a team. Your family is your ultimate team. Do you guys have gratitude? Do you talk about the things that you're grateful for? I know we do it around the table or in prayer circles during holidays and things like that. But what about every day? We have something to be grateful for. So just like I've got my gratitude sandwich, that was something that as I'm thinking out loud, instead of me doing this just for myself and in my head, what if that's the conversation Tim and I are having together before we go to sleep? What if that's something I'm talking to my son about first thing in the morning before he gets his day going, so that we're consistently teaching those lessons and modeling those things for the people that are around us and building up those relationships and unifying us as teams and the different versions of teams that we're a part of in our lives. What do you guys think about that?
I think that for me, you're absolutely right. I think that it brings me back to a time when, you know, we were trying to raise our kids, especially in their teen years. And we always said, Renee and I said, if we disagree in the midst of our disciplining the kids, we can't do that in front of them. Let's
Right.
go ahead and have that conversation later, and then maybe we can go back and revisit that conversation with the kids
Exactly.
together, because w- you know we always used to say it's like chum in the water. If those sharks smell that
They
chum,
smell blood. They're coming.
they're coming. They're gonna break that line, and they're gonna go for it.
Then
And
those
so,
kids have the natural ability to try to divide and conquer. Dad said no, so I'm going straight to ask mom.
absolutely right. That's exactly it. And so when we presented that unified force, though, right? And it was okay. He's going to be saying this. I'm going to go ahead and follow up with this. And together, we're going to show that we're trying to help them understand that what they did was a mistake. And we're going to go ahead and try to help you with that. It's a learning opportunity, and we're going to move forward from here together. And we're going to share in this together. Now, in the room, Renee and I are like, well, now why'd you go and say that?
Right, right, right.
but but in that moment, we have to present that unified force,
That
and then
unified front.
right,
Absolutely.
and then
Absolutely.
and then together we're like, okay, next time this is what we're gonna say
Right.
together, right? Okay, okay, we got it.
Now we're
But
on the same page.
now we're
Don't
on the same
look, don't do
page.
that again.
Yeah, I was usually the one on the other side with the finger pointed at. So
I can't imagine. Cannot imagine that. We've got a couple of comments that came in from Ashwarya. She says, love that tenacity comes along and any force that brings many to find a common good for meaningful ideas is true unity. Team Unifier is awesome practice. All right. So, Brian, I see you in the car. Get ready for the next letter. And I think you're going to like this one. I think we're all going to like this one. So, we're coming up to our U, and it's unleashes joy. Gratitude unleashes joy. It moves us from a place of frustration, the ho hums, and it allows us to reignite, to find our joy because we're focused on the abundance. We're focused on what we have and what's going well, not so much focused on the problems and the I wish I had this and I wish I had that. Hey, did you notice over there? They just added this to their house and mine still looks like we don't we don't want to do that. We want to be grateful and focus on what we have and allow that to unleash joy. So I'll let you deal with that one, Brian. Uh-oh, we can't hear you. Oh, I think you're muted.
How about now?
That's it. You're good.
So I was reading something a few days ago, about if you're this is the sum of it. If you're not happy where you are, you're not going to be happy where you want to go,
Hmm.
right? Having that
Hmm.
joy right now is how you move to that next place. If you're always struggling to find joy and peace in your current situation, I don't care where you go, I don't care what you do, you're never going to be joyful because you're not grateful, right? In order to
Hmm.
experience this life to the fullest, you got to be thankful for the good, the bad, every single step of the way right now. And I don't mean, right now in hopes of, okay, well, I'm happy right now because I believe something else better is going to happen. No, I mean just saying, hey, I'm happy right now. And the only way you're able to do that is in tough situations, right? If you're always experiencing good, then when something bad happens, you're not going to be prepared for it. You're not going to
Hmm.
be stirred up. You have to experience those tough times in order to understand what real joy is. Joy, when they say joy comes in the morning, they're always talking about joy coming after something that happened that could
Exactly.
take joy away, right? Joy comes at the end of your tribulation, at the end of your trial. Unleashing joy. And when I saw that, I said, unleashing Jay?
He is joyful. Jay is
You
joyful.
Jay, that's joy. That's joy.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Unleashes joy. That one resonates well because our joy really comes from our perspective. It comes from what we are choosing to focus on. And I keep using the word choose on purpose because I want everybody to walk away with the understanding that you have a say in this thing. Even in the midst of what's going on, you can find your joy. I know a lot of people are dealing with loss right now, and that's never easy. But we can find joy in the memories that we have with that person. We can find joy in the fact that they're no longer suffering whatever it was they were going through. So again, it's how we choose to look at the situation. Does that mean I'm not sad? No, it doesn't mean that. Of course, you're sad. You lost someone physically that's important to you, but there are still joyful moments that you can hold on to help you continue to move through even that situation, which is one of the most difficult situations as humans that we have to deal with. Laura said, no joy without pain. Joy and pain is like sunshine and rain. That's right. There is no, you wouldn't even know what joy was. We don't know a thing until we experience the opposite of it. That's when you really know how important something is to you or whether or not it's important to you at all. If something, have you ever heard them talking about how do you clear out your closet? Take something and hang it to if you haven't worn it in a week or two, a month, hang it to the back. If you don't go looking for that thing and time keeps passing and you never think to wear it, it's time to give it to someone else. It's time to let it find a new home and you can clear out some of the clutter in your closet because you're just hanging on to stuff. And that's what we do in our lives. We hang on to stuff. And I'm just encouraging you, instead of hanging on to the emotional baggage, instead of hanging on to the memories of just how difficult that thing is, hang on to the gifting from it. Hang on to the learning. Hang on to what you got from that situation because that's what's going to equip you for the next time and it's going to accelerate you getting through this thing that's happening right now. Let's see. Laura also says, spot on. If kids smell conflict, they will use it to their advantage. They are smart and young. Why wouldn't they? Smile. The real conversation is, why do grown people not support their partners? Poor communication skills need to be discussed honestly. Oh, yeah. Poor communication is at the root of so many problems, especially in marriages, but in any relationship. It could be work, it could be a friendship, whatever. Us as the fam five, where communication breaks down is where we will be at our weakest and where we will be most vulnerable, and things can go awry. Communication is key to every relationship. Laura says, favorite 80s song. So true. Joy and pain. Deirdre said, the art of letting go is a beautiful thing. It really is. Sometimes we have held on to something for so long, and it there is somebody that thing would bless so much, and we've held on to. We don't even use it anymore. We don't even want it, but we don't want to let it go because we're so accustomed to having it around. And we can be like that in our emotions. We have emotional memory. I'll tell you guys, every year during I used to always say that March is my new year. For whatever reason, so many wonderful things have happened to me, not just in March, but specifically on March 6th. And usually during the holiday season in early December all the way through February, I would be miserable. Didn't matter that all the festivities were happening. I was doing what I needed to do to make those memories with the kids and things like that. But on the inside, I felt horrible, and I just had to force myself through those times. I didn't enjoy them. And I went to therapy years ago, and the therapist asked me, did anything bad happen to you? Did you have any type of traumatic experience during this time of the year? And I said, no, nothing that I can think of. The only thing that I remember happening this time of the year is I lost my grandmother. Well, for those who know me, that's who raised me. My grandmother, I lived with her until she died. And I hadn't made the connection of all the things that we went through during that time of the year until she finally passed away that February. We watched her suffer, we watched her decline. We didn't have much of a Christmas that year because she was in ICU. All this stuff happened, and emotionally I had bottled it up in my body, and it came up every year. I was re-triggered during that time of the year. I absolutely had no idea that that's what was going on. I just knew, I was like, oh, it's wintertime, less sun, I probably have the winter blues. I had gone through a divorce earlier in my life. I was married for right under 10 years and had two daughters, and then I remarried, and me and my husband now have been married for 24 years, and we have a son. And so during the holidays, the kids would have to get moved around so that they spent time with all the sides of their families. And I'm making the adult decisions to do the right thing for the kids so that they never had to feel like they had to choose between family members and parents and all that kind of stuff. And so I was just kind of on autopilot doing what needed to be done to make sure everybody was as healthy and whole as possible. So I thought it was all of that stuff that was really bumming me out during the holidays, until that lady said, did anything traumatic happen to you? And when she said that, she said, you're just remembering, your body is remembering the extreme stress that it went through this time of the year when you had to let go of the most important person in your life, the person who had raised you. And she said, so when you start to feel those feelings in the future, just acknowledge your grandmother. Tell her that you're thinking about her, and see what happens. Y'all, it worked like a charm. That upcoming holiday season, I started to feel bad, and I goes, "Oh, Mom, I'm not even aware that I was thinking about you, but obviously I'm thinking about you right now." And I just talked to her. I so wish you were here. I wish you knew your grandkids. I wish they got a chance to know you. And I just had a conversation, and all that gunk went away. And whenever it comes up, it's just a quick conversation. Hey, Mama, I must be thinking about you. And the bad feelings go away. And I have had great Christmases, holiday seasons for years now, ever since she made me aware of that emotional memory. But my body was holding on. It was holding on to that hurt. It was holding on to those negative feelings, even though they served me not at all. They actually, were making the holiday seasons brutal for me. So be really mindful of what you're holding on to. And in order to make room for something new, you've got to let go of something old. And in letting go of that and actually allowing myself to grieve that experience and let that part of it go has opened up my ability to really enjoy the holidays and be present for real and not just push through with all this negative stuff churning on the inside. So I certainly encourage you guys to stay tapped in and talk to yourself. What am I feeling? What story am I telling myself right now? Why am I reacting that way? What's at the bottom of this? Sometimes our reactions are so big compared to what actually happened. That's the time to check in. Don't punish yourself. You should know better. You should be better. No, take that time to be gentle with yourself and have a conversation. Wow, that was a big reaction. What am I really feeling that right now? What's going on? And in doing that, you can put some of that baggage, you can unpack some of that stuff and be done with it once and for all, and move through your life happier, healthier, lighter, and more aware of who you are and what's really going on with you. Let's see. Beatrice, I think I read this. The art of letting go is a beautiful thing. And Asharia said the program was a great, insightful session and a joy. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm glad that things are resonating with you. So we're getting close to the end of the word gratitude. We're coming up on our D, and the D is a destination clarifier. I like this one because I am all about clarity. We have to stay tapped into ourselves. We have to be clear about what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. I saw Brian put the thumbs up. So before I go into mine, Brian, talk to us about the definite objective. Let me unmute you.
I love that.
There you go.
Job. I love it. So I really believe that oftentimes we look over our definite objective because we're so ready to get into actually doing, right? And it's not the doing that we want, it's the doing on the other side of what we have to do that we want, right? So we're not really caught up in the work of the doing as much as we are in the result of the doing. But in order to get that result, you first have to know where you're going. That destination clarified. That's what that definite objective means for me is
Right.
I know where I'm going. I know, when I expect to get there. I know why I'm going there. I've assessed the potential obstacles that may come up as a result of me wanting to get to this particular destination. That definite objective for me is not only the foundation for my life, but it's the foundation for my business. It's the foundation for my work. It's the foundation for my life's work, right? All all throughout my life, I've had to make pivots, I've had to make decisions, I've had to turn what was my my goal upside down, right? So that I could achieve that definite objective. I've had to switch business models, at least 3 times. I've had to remove people from my life because they didn't fit that definite objective. When we think about that destination clarifier, it not only helps us to understand where we want to go, it helps us to understand what we're not going to accept or what we can't accept in
There
order
you
to,
go.
right? That's what
Yeah.
that destination clarifier is really about. And Cassandra, we talk about this often. It's not really about what you want as much as it is about what you're not going to do in order to get what you want, right? So there are 1,000 different things out there that lie outside of that definite objective. The definite objective helps you to stay focused and weed out those 1,000 things, right? So that you don't get so caught up and so wrapped up in day-to-day life. You start to see this thing and that thing. Well, I think that'll help me get to where I want to go to, but you really don't know where you want to go to. When you have that destination clarifier in place, then all of those distractions, you can just bat them to the side as you're going down this path, this journey in life. You can bat all of those distractions to the side. Just keep batting them to the side. They're like little Oompa Loompas in Super Mario. And we talk about it's me, a Mario. She says it all the time. I can see her. She just batting down Oompa Loompas to get to her goal, right? And her goal might not be nothing more than, Dad, I'm gonna get you to make me this dessert, or Dad, I want you to take me to Chick-fil-A. But she's got a definite objective in her mind, and she's not gonna stop until she gets there.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't, we as adults, as we get older, we can't lose that same drive, that same tenacity to get to where we want to go to. But in order to get there, you've got to already have it fixed in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do to get there, and this is what I'm not going to do so that I'm able to get there. So that's what comes up for me when we start talking about destination. It's got to be direct about your definite objective.
I love it. I love it. When I think about it, you're right. It's not so much just what you're going to say yes to, what you're focused on. It also, when your destination is clear, it also tells you easily what you're going to say no to. Your yeses can be yeses and your no's can be no's that you can stand on, and you know it's the right response because either it's moving you towards what you're trying to accomplish or it's not. And there are so many opportunities that are going to pop up, so many things that look good, sound good, people vying for your attention and your time. And if you don't have your destination clarified, if you're not clear, if you don't have that definite objective, you can bounce around and be the busiest person in the world and accomplish absolutely nothing. Because there is a huge difference between being busy and being productive. Busy, I'm doing a lot of stuff. Productive, I'm doing the right stuff at the right time to yield the results that I'm going for. It's different. It's not just doing stuff, it's the right stuff. So that destination clarifier is huge for me as well. Deirdre says, "What a wonderful way to process trauma in a positive way." Thanks, Cassandra, for sharing your story. You are welcome, welcome, welcome. And Laura says, "Thank you, thanks so much, everyone. I have to go, but you are all wonderful. Glad I stopped by for the gold today. Be safe and have an abundant new year." We wish her the absolute same. Before we move to the last letter, Jay, did you want to add anything on destination clarifier?
Yeah, what I wanted to add was what we were talking about earlier with the directory in the airport. You know,
Yes.
finding out where we are and then knowing where we're headed. And so that is the destination clarifier. You know, that fixed point, those two fixed points.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to understand that, I just go back to what B was talking about, and that's, having that definite objective and sticking to it. And I was trying to remember or recall the formula to get my definite objective. The the why, the who, and the how. That's the definite objective. Why am I doing this? Who am I doing it for? And how am I going to do it? That's my definite objective. And so this to me will clarify that destination.
I saw you sit up a little taller, Brian, when he started to talk. We are all students of Mr. Content. I actually brought his book with me on my vacation because I'm working through. I think when you go through something, I think this is how somebody taught me to read the Bible. Read the first thing, read it first from end to end. Don't take notes. Don't try and figure things out, but just read it from cover to cover. And then when you go back, now you've got the overall kind of concept of what's there. And then you go back and you start to dig in and working through those details and you get that deeper understanding. But first, read the whole thing just to see what the story is all about, and you can dig in deeper when you've got that overarching understanding. So that's where I am with Brian's book. It really helped me shape my content. It's the road to influence and thought progressive leadership. It really helped me to understand how I was showing up in the social spaces, what I was sharing, why was I sharing it? Who am I talking to? When you have those things in mind, it shapes things differently. And it has been really, really helpful in me getting there. And I've seen my followers grow as a result because I actually have somebody in my brain. I'm talking to somebody as I'm writing what I'm writing or as I'm preparing the post and things like that. And it just makes a big difference. And so I have a destination. I'm not just putting a post out for the sake of being out there, but I'm talking to somebody about a thing, and there's a goal that I have in mind. That's a definite objective for that particular post. I'm doing it for a reason. And so thank you for that, Mr. Content. We appreciate you. And I think we're all getting better as a result. I know we are all getting better as a result of not only your book, but we can ring you, we can text you, we can message you and go, "Hey, I'm stuck right here. What does this really mean? Or how do I get?" I questioned him so much about the definite objective to make sure I was really getting it and that I was there. and it was just a part of the process so that it really sunk in for me. And so it's a beautiful thing. So your destination, you want that clarity because it will inform the decisions that you make. It will help you make the right decisions to accomplish the things that are important to you. So destination clarifier is huge. And then the last letter in gratitude is E. Gratitude elevates our connections. Somebody talked about it. I'll have to look back at the comments. Somebody talked about relationships early on and how important that is. But when we are grateful, can you imagine? Well, I just did it. I just showed gratitude to Brian for not only for his book, but for how open he is with us and consistently allowing us to learn from what he knows. He's been in the game for over 20 years in this content and marketing and all this stuff. He just lives, breathes, sleeps this stuff. When he was talking earlier today, he kept saying, "I read about this and I read about that." He's somebody who's reading and learning and growing all the time, and we get to take advantage of that. It's a part of our circle. We share with him on a regular basis. He's sharing with us, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for Jay. Jay don't show up. Jay's sick. Jay's baby's sick. Jay's going through stuff. We have to make him not show up so that he's taking care of himself because it's just the type of person that he is. I'm grateful. Every one of you guys, some of y'all are here every single day, tuning in, giving your comments, supporting what it is that we're doing. Absolutely grateful for that. And when I know that I'm grateful for a thing, it makes me feel closer to you. But when you know that I'm grateful, hopefully it makes you feel closer to me. And it elevates our connection. It pulls us closer together. It makes it more meaningful. There's reciprocity in it. You're getting something from it. I'm getting something from it. It's a more valuable connection that will continue to grow and have a life of its own. Gratitude does that. It elevates what you have going on with the people in your life. And I think that is so very important. I see some comments coming in. Let me address those. And then I'd love to hear what both of you guys have to say about gratitude elevating your connections. Asharia said, gratitude to all and hope that we all reach our destinations. Best wishes for the new year ahead from India. I'm curious where you are in India. I was just there. I was in Bangalore and I was in Kochi about a couple weeks ago. And I had a wonderful time in India. So I'd love to know where you are. Dr. New has joined. She says, good morning, Cassandra, Brian, and Jay. Same to you. Asharia said, thank you all and so special conversations. Dr. New says, thank you for all that you do. And Sonia says, we appreciate the live comments from the Fam 5. We appreciate you, Sonia. You are definitely one of those ones. If Sonia can't get to us from LinkedIn, she gonna go over to Facebook. If she can't get us from Facebook, she'll go over to YouTube. She makes it a point of being with us whenever she possibly can, however she can. And we certainly appreciate you. So I've gone through all the comments, guys. So whoever wants to go first, tell me what comes to mind when you think about gratitude and its ability to elevate connections.
I'll jump in real quick. Actually, it's not going to be quick. It's going to be a long one.
Oh no! Wait a minute.
Okay.
No,
So I'm thinking about Solomon, right?
Okay.
King Solomon. You know, here's a man in the Bible who was one of the most prosperous men in biblical times, and he was the son of King David, and he was the first to build the temple. Um, and on the day that he built the temple, he gave a dedication,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we do that all the time in modern times. Right? We do a dedication. There's a pastor that comes out and he does a dedication, or there's a dignitary that does that. Well, he did one, and essentially the dedication. Um, let's see, First Book of Kings, chapter 22, I'll read it. Um, then Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord in front of the whole assembly of Israel, spread out his hands and toward heaven, and said, Lord, the God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth before. You keep your covenant of love with your servants who continue wholeheartedly in your way. You have kept your promise to your servant David, my father. With your mouth you have promised, and with your hand you have fulfilled it, as it is today. So, what he's saying there is, I'm thankful. I'm grateful for all the blessings you gave me, all the blessings you gave my father. And in my gratitude, I've built this temple. In my gratitude, I'm keeping the Ark of the Covenant safe in the temple. And I'm using this place as a holy place, a sacred ground for you to show you my thanks for all you've done for me, my family, and the people of Israel. So he's just acknowledging God's covenant, right? And so when I think about elevating connections,
Mm-hmm.
that's the highest elevation of a connection, the connection to a higher power, the
Right.
connection to God. And so Solomon did that. And this just kind of to me brings to light all the things that could have happened. Solomon was the wisest man, the richest man. He could have done anything and everything that people do today. Think of him like a Jeff Bezos, right? All the secular stuff that he could have done, right? He may have done some stuff, right? We've read it in the Bible, but ultimately he gave thanks and praise to higher power because of the things that occurred in his life and
Mhm.
in the lives of the people that he cared about and the people that he had dominion over. And so that's what comes up for me as far as gratitude and elevating that your connections. He elevated his connections with his people through his faith.
Mhm.
And he had gratitude every day. Imagine the first stone that was laid to create that temple, right? Just standing there. And this is going to be the start of something that's going to give glory to God. And then another stone was laid, and another stone. And then, as all the stones were laid and the last one was set in place, it's like, here I am. I've accomplished something. Here I am. I've done this. I've done this one because of him, but also for him. So that's
Mhm.
what I'm thinking about in this moment. When I think about the Bible, the verse, and the prosperity King Solomon had, he he always thought of giving back, and the way he gave back was that temple.
Love it. It took a while. It feels complete now. It feels complete because you always bring a verse, and we got all the way down to the last letter before we got it, but we got it. So I am so glad that you were able to weave that into the conversation today. Elevates connections. Any? What do you want to add, Brian?
Just that uh, when I think about elevating connections and I think about gratitude, gratitude for me is three things. Gratitude is humility, it's patience, and it's peace. And when I think about those three things, and I think about elevating the connections, I'm not thinking about the connections that I currently have. I think about the connections that are waiting for me. And
Mm,
that elevation of connection for me is something that I wouldn't be able to do without expressing that gratitude, right? Because it's bigger than you and I. It's bigger than flesh and bone. It's bigger than the things that we can see. There's a lot on, going on in the background that we can't see, and our gratitude is the key that activates what's going on behind the scenes.
right.
And when I think about elevating connections, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm really thinking about because of my gratitude, the gratitude in my heart, I get that patience, I get that peace, and I get that humility that I need to gain or attract these new connections to elevate me to that level, that place that I can move and do the next thing that my creator wants me to do.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. We've got a couple of last comments that have come in. Deirdre says, thanks for the great advice. You are very welcome. And Dr. New for you, Jay, says, hope and pray that your baby gets well soon, Jay. So hopefully everybody in the house is getting back on the up and up, and the little one is feeling better quickly. Thank you for that, Dr. New. So we have made it through a long word this time. Gratitude, lots of letters. And I think we have picked this thing apart and we have looked at it from all different angles. And you guys in the audience have added your richness to the conversation. And we are grateful for that as well. And this is going to bring us to the close of Thankful Thursday, but it shouldn't bring us to the close of your gratitude, of you being thankful throughout the rest of your day. Continue. And if something really comes up for you, drop us a comment. What you're grateful for in that moment? What continues to resonate with you throughout the day? We will be back tomorrow, same time, 7:15 a.m. Central, for Focus Friday. We will talk about focus, the tool of focus, utilizing focus to accelerate your journey, to move you from where you are to what it is that you want to accomplish. How do you get that definite objective? How do you get the results that you're looking for in that space? Focus, focus, focus is huge. And we will deal with that tomorrow. Don't know how yet, but I'm going to do like Brian did and get quiet and see what comes to me. Is it an acrostic? Is it a quote? How are we going to kick off the conversation? Not sure, but we are sure that we're going to kick it off. And we look forward to having you guys back with us tomorrow at 7:15 a.m. Central for that conversation. Be blessed throughout the rest of your day, and we will see you all back here tomorrow. Thanks, Jay and Brian, for everything that you do every day. I appreciate you guys. See you all back tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. We hope
Tomorrow,
that you join us tomorrow for another episode. For advertising or sponsorship questions, reach out to Cassandra or any one of the Fam 5 on their LinkedIn profiles.
On Instagram. Thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.